I have 4 more points and then I'm done. First, even the most ardent voluntarist must realize that he or she will never live to see the system implemented. The question is, why spend a lifetime advocating for something unlikely to ever happen? Now, these people look down on others all the time, especially fellow libertarians who work within the current system to pass liberty-friendly legislation that might help the citizenry in some way. The libertarians who engage in such activity get branded as sellouts to the cause of freedom or as hopeless compromisers. But people working within the admittedly bad system are at least doing something. Maybe removing arduous restrictions or working to lower taxes or repeal heavy-handed legislation. The voluntarist zealot, by contrast, accomplishes really nothing by sitting around arguing for the highest possible degree of libertarian purity and accepting nothing but. These people end up being little more than theoreticians who, in my opinion, waste precious time and energy. Life is really too short for that. Point 2. Just how does government go away? Now, this is seldom explained. Do libertarian ideas just creep in incrementally by imperceptible degrees until government vanishes? Do the politicians themselves all decide to go home realizing nobody wants them in charge? Or are voluntarists talking about an overthrow? I don't think so. That doesn't seem to be the MO. But then what? They're seldom clear on this. How's it going to happen? And even if the federal government disappears, which I think would be wonderful, we're still left with state, county, and local governments. What's the proposal for getting rid of all that? After all, if you're going to do anarchy, you can't have a county commission or local zoning board, can you? The likelihood of expunging all government, even the most local authorities, is just lower than low. My third point is a pet peeve. Voluntarists traffic in hyperbole all the time. We hear about government violently dominating its citizens, and sometimes it does, of course. We've seen video footage of police brutality, and it's horrible. Also, I realize that every government mandate is backed by the implied threat of force. If you fail to comply, they'll make you do it. But honestly, is anyone violently dominating me in an overt and literal sense by requiring I get a driver's license before I take my car out on the road? Or by requiring a building permit, obnoxious as that requirement might be? Under what scenario is it at all likely that government will kill me or visit violence upon me for not getting a permit to build a fence around my yard? Unless I come out with guns blazing, it's unlikely to transpire. Now, slavery is another hyperbolic term that comes up a lot. People who advocate a minimal state get mocked with sayings like, "Oh, so you just want a little slavery, huh?" And this really minimizes the moral villainy associated with the slavery that existed in our country. While it's technically true that we're less free when government forces us to comply with stupid rules, our position under those stupid rules pales before the horrors of real slavery, something that actually exists in parts of the world today. Bottom line, when your position is sound, you don't need hyperbole to prejudice people against dissent. You can win the day using plain language. My fourth and final point: voluntarists themselves will admit they hold a radical position. Radicals seldom win public favor. As long as they advocate for something the public regards as extreme, they won't gain much traction trying to convey such ideas as individual liberty. Radicalism erects a wall. Most people don't have positive feelings when you use the word anarchy. And yet it just rolls off the tongues of voluntarists constantly as if they're daring people to reject it. Final note. I still respect voluntarism. It's hard to argue against, but it's also hard to argue for it, to explain how it might work. I'm tired of trying to pretend the philosophy isn't beset with huge problems. So I now accept the idea of a minimal state, one that is highly decentralized. We're still unlikely to get even that kind of government, but it's not as unlikely as our getting a stateless society. That's not going to happen, at least not for a long, long time.